I got you guys. I'm gonna go hit the reset button. It's not happening again.
Take a look at the last 4 years of a president who was never far away from his Twitter account. How can you not be on Twitter, Tim? Twitter's amazing. It's like a huge library where you can read any book, any newspaper, anything you like, but as you wander around, everyone else in the library is shouting wanker or Nazi at you as you walk past. It won't be the same without him, you know? I'm really going to miss him. Like a drunk uncle who's abusive and hilarious in equal measure. You know, one that forces you to sit on his lap and he's definitely getting off on it and it's vile, but you can't help but laugh at how small his boner actually is. Like he's got a mini travel roll-on deodorant in his pants.
Fascinating.
The votes for President of the United States are as follows. Joseph R. Biden, Jr. of the state of Delaware has received 306 votes. Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 232 votes. The whole number of electors appointed to vote for Vice President of the United States is 500.
Bad Mike, you are a bad boy.
Fascinating, Captain.
Yeah, there you go. Just filming the kids' cubby house. I put a lean-to on it. Made it look like a little country cottage. The goats love it. They're out there chilling. There's a couple inside, but they seem to prefer the outside. Get your attention. Coo-wee! Nah, they're too chilled.
Fascinating.
ANSA. What do the letters stand for? Are they just another anagram in the alphabet soup of national bureaucracies? What do they mean? To be precise, the letters are government shorthand for the American National Space Administration. But what do they really mean? ANSA stands for the greatest conglomerate of scientific vision and knowledge in the history of mankind. Nothing less than that. And if I sound like I'm bursting with pride, it's because I am. We at ANSA have come a long way in 10 years, both figuratively and literally. From a science fiction dream in the fertile imagination of Chairman Dr. Otto Hasslein, the program quickly progressed to the first manned spacecraft to orbit the Earth. With the combined brilliance of the finest minds in aerospace science, Dr. Hasslein then turned his attention to exploring other worlds, landing men on the moon, and then the red planet, Mars. But ANSA's vision could not be limited by our own solar system. Human exploration of Earth's neighboring planets served as only a prelude to ANSA's further ambitions. Photon propulsion and near light speed travel have now allowed Dr. Hasslein and his team to target distant galaxies and nebulae for their next destinations. The result? Project Liberty, in which a manned spaceflight will be sent to the distant constellation Centaurus, 4 light years away. The purpose of the mission is a selfless one: to increase the knowledge of man for yet-to-be-born generations. This is the Liberty One, a winged chariot that will propel man into the greatest adventure ever conceived. Built to withstand the pressures of near-light-speed travel, the Liberty represents the technological crown jewel of the ANSA fleet. After a 5-year series of exhaustive tests and prototypes, the ANSA team are confident that it is ready to carve its place in the annals of history. Like a shooting star, the Liberty will slice through space at velocities approaching the speed of light. Dr. Hasslein discovered that under this circumstance, time dilates. The astronauts aboard the ship will age only 18 months, while 2,000 years will have elapsed on Earth. ANSA's Life Science Group have created the means for chemically inducing human hibernation aboard the spacecraft. The astronauts will sleep inside hermetically sealed pods in suspended animation during what, for them, will be a 4-year flight. Of course, this means that these brave space pioneers can never return to the world they knew. They will be leaving everything and everybody behind, never to see them again. After their successful voyage, the world to which they return will undoubtedly be very different.
Hello to you. Well, I just thought I would show you what it is that I get to see. You can see little noses poking out. There is, I can't find where the thing is. There is Otis sticking his nose out. I know Jasper is up there. I also know that Juno is running up and around there as well.
A most fascinating thing happened.
That, you know, rats get to utilise snake space. Okay, my bird just went berserk. What are you doing, Jasper? Hey? What are you doing? And yes, my little snakes do come up here, as you know, and crawl around and enjoy as well. So I'm kind of figuring that surely these guys, you know, they've got to be up. Their noses are like amazing, you could say, for smell. So are they able to smell that? I can't see that high up. I'm not that tall. Isn't that good fun? Oh, and of course, all the way up the top, having a squeeze around as they do. But I love this, guys. Like, Jasper, you coming out of that basket and going for a bit of a wander? Yes? Where are you going to go and have a look? Where Otis is, because Otis and Jasper really are good buddies. Poor Juno tends to be on the outer a little bit.
Fascinating.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with me today. I'm going to brief you this afternoon about a horrible, tragic event that occurred in Lake County, and we assisted the Lake County Sheriff's Office. In fact, they did a remarkably good job. 4 graves were robbed on December the 5th in the Edgewood Cemetery in Mount Dora, and this is predominantly an African-American cemetery. The Lake County Sheriff's Office was called to investigate, and they obtained DNA. And they obtained DNA specifically from a cigar. And we're going to explain that in greater detail in just a minute. So when the DNA came back, they ran it through CODIS, and it led them to Brian Tolentino. Brian Tolentino is 43 years of age, and he drives a truck for a living. Well, upon investigation, Brian Tolentino led them to Juan Lopez. Juan Lopez is 29 years of age, and he owns the Bushkan Karate Center and after-school child care program on Dundee Road in the area of Winter Haven. The spirits had led them to the cemetery. And once the spirits led them to the cemetery, there is an interesting thing that occurs. We said, well, how did you end up with those graves? And they said, well, the spirits led us to those graves. But before they could remove the skulls and the body parts from the grave, they had to perform a ritual, a ceremony, and they did. They would drink Bacardi rum and spit it out on the ground. And then they would smoke a cigar and exhale the smoke. And the purpose of that was to protect them from the spirits. The cemeteries, after Juan the Tata performed the religious ceremony at the gravesite late at night or early in the morning in the darkness of December the 5th or 6th. But unlike the Tata, the Paleros has a criminal history for bank robbery when he was in Puerto Rico. He also had cocaine charges and grand theft charges out of Orange County, Orlando. It probably should come as no surprise to you. They dropped those charges. But he robbed graves. Any grave is horrific. But they sought out and intentionally went to the graves of veterans, of heroes, of war heroes that fought for this great country we have today. And nothing's ever the same for the family after that. Most of the times, we never find the remains so we can return them. The blessing is because of the great work by the detectives for the Lake County Sheriff's Office, they completely did their crime scene work and were able to get DNA, and that led us to Brian, actually. Led us to Brian because he was the one with a criminal record, and Brian led us to the religious or spiritual leader, Juan. Reinter the complete graves of 4, and we want to for the 5th as soon as we find out who they are. The bad news is they should have never been disturbed to begin with. Look at this. Look at this mess that they left at people's gravesite. This is despicable. You can't condemn this in tough enough words. Setting the religious views aside, because I'm not going to attack anyone's religion, their conduct here is reprehensible in the strongest terms. Any questions? Any more questions? Thank you very much. Y'all have a good weekend, and we'll see you when the next set of criminals do something just really, really stupid. Take care.
Fascinating.
As England's new national lockdown becomes law, Rishi Sunak defended the Prime Minister, saying that he had acted decisively in sending England into further restrictions, including school closures. Decisive? I mean, which Prime Minister is he talking about here? Decisive? Boris's entire COVID response from start to finish has been a tragedy of indecision. It's like a low-rent Hamlet. Decisive? 3 days before he cancelled Christmas, Boris was talking about how important it was not to cancel Christmas. Then he cancelled Christmas. What the fuck? On Sunday, he told Andrew Marr that we're fucked, but still waits another 36 hours to lock us down. He also told Marr that he had no doubt that schools are safe, and then proves it by closing them 48 hours later. These mixed messages, they breed mistrust, which in turn breeds resentment, which in turn breeds people to go, oh, fuck it, I've had enough of this bollocks, I'm going out onto the street to cough on some old people. So, we all send our kids back to school for 1 day. What earth-shatteringly new information did he have on Monday night that he didn't have on Sunday morning? Why send kids back to school for 1 day? 1 day! If it's too dangerous to open them on Tuesday, it was too dangerous to open them on Monday. And of course it's fucking dangerous. 30 kids in the same room for 8 hours and then sending them home to 30 different households might just possibly. Yeah, a school is a petri dish of bogies being flicked and greeners being flobbed and wedgies being given and scraps in the corridor and shared cigarettes in the toilets. These kids, they went to school on Monday and they did what kids do at school. Double maths, had a fight, gave Cheryl from my geography class a fingering by the bike shed, got coronavirus all over me, went home, infected parents, and only then was I told to stay at home. These teachers, who are just a step behind nurses on the front line, have spent the last few weeks working their nuts off trying to get mass testing rolled out into their schools. Now they've got to suddenly start doing Zoom lessons again instead, with 24 hours notice. If Boris wasn't continually and consistently 5 steps behind everyone else, listening to the science and then ignoring it for a week or two, then a lot more people would be alive right now.
It would be a fascinating project.
This was a 2021 Wolfie Terrier production.
Fascinating.